Hi everyone, this is Suzanne DeVita with RISMedia. Thank you for joining us for the RISMedia webinar series. Today, DocuSign is going to showcase their transaction management product, Rooms for Real Estate, which will be presented by Adriana Garcia, Product Marketing Specialist at DocuSign, and Kelly Lewis, Solution Engineer also at DocuSign. Adriana will kick this off with an overview of the product, and afterward, Kelly will demo Rooms for Real Estate for you. And at the end, if you have a question, they'll be responding to those at that time. A few housekeeping items before we get started. First, with the exception of our presenters today, all attendees will be muted during the webinar. So if you do have a question at any time, we encourage you to enter it in the questions section within the GoToWebinar panel on your screen. We'll answer those for you during the Q&A portion of the call. Also, we'll be recording the webinar today and providing you with a link to that recording so you have that for reference. With that, I'll now turn it over to Adriana to begin our presentation.
Awesome. Thanks, Suzanne. Hello, everyone. So she just mentioned my name is Adriana Garcia. I am a product marketing specialist at DocuSign. I focus on the real estate industry and how we can make your lives easier as real estate professionals with our DocuSign products. And with me, I also have my colleague, Kelly Lewis. She's a solution engineer at DocuSign, and she also focuses on our real estate customers in our segment here. So although we're very well known for our e-signature product, we also have a very robust transaction management product that we will be sharing with you today. So first, I'm going to give you some insight on the product and actually show you what it is so you can become a little bit more familiar with it. And then after that, Kelly is going to do a live demo for you so you can see what it really looks like. And then lastly, we'll take any questions that you have. So I ask that all of you jot down any questions as we go through the presentation. And then at the end, when we open it up for questions, that's when you can put your questions into the little question area here. All right. So as most of you know and have felt the impact of technology within the real estate industry, it's changing. And that's because expectations of customers are changing and they're really impacting how real estate does business today, right? So you've got, new companies like Zillow, Redfin, Airbnb, WeWork, Opendoor, and all of these companies are changing the way that customers are reacting and with the world. For example, we have 44% of buyers will search online before they even contact an agent. And then you have Redfin with their discount brokerage model and trying to compete with specialization of their agents, and Opendoor with their iBuyer instant offers model. And for these companies to be able to survive and really thrive nowadays just signals that all of these changes are here to stay, and investors know this, right? So both customers and agents have information at their fingertips today, and they expect everything to be quick and easy with this digital transformation within the real estate industry. And it's up to you to ensure that you're competitive and catering to these expectations that not only customers, but also agents have as well. So in order to stay competitive in this industry today, you need to ensure that, that your customer experiences are not being powered by legacy systems, because if you do that, it's not going to meet their needs, and they're not going to be interested in really doing business with you and enjoying, to want to continue to do business with you. So brokerages that are manually trying to manage their transaction processes they're wasting time, they're frustrating agents, and they're also creating a lot of compliance risk, right? There's so much that you have to comply with in terms of real estate laws and associations nowadays. And you really have to be up to speed on all of that, and ensuring that there is an audit trail and a digital transaction is imperative for that, right? So instead of, growing your business through marketing, coaching agents, recruiting top talent, a lot of times brokers or your staff members are just wasting time filling out paperwork, completing manual checklists and processes, trying to chase agents for status of a certain property, or trying to tag them down to finally review and approve of their work. It's just a lot of wasted time and a lot of headaches. And really, these manual processes are slowing your deals down, and they introduce a lot of human error, which is just very frustrating for agents that want an easy way to do their work. And in order to do that, they need the best tools, they need the best technology. And so on the other hand, a lot of you have tried to adopt different types of transaction management systems, but typically those also fall short. And even though you're taking a step in the right direction, you're not quite there yet with a true modern real estate transaction experience. Typically, these are very hard to use. They're frustrating for agents, and they also limit adoption because they're so hard to use. In addition to that, typically they'll offer very limited configurability. And so what that does is it forces your brokerage to retrofit your processes as you work within the system. So instead of the system actually copying, your own systems in real life, you're then forced to fit it to whatever that system has, which really is not user-friendly by any means and is not speeding up your transaction process. And lastly, typically a lot of these other systems don't easily integrate with other systems that you already have in use, such as CRM systems or accounting systems. Or in addition, they may not allow you to integrate with some of the systems. They don't give you a choice to use the other systems that work best for your brokerage that you need to quickly complete a transaction. And again, it's just, it's creating more manual errors because you're going to have to constantly be rekeying different information from one system to another. And again, just, with increased competition and so much new technology, the brokerage business has really, really changed over the years. And brokerages that are manually managing transactions or using some of these outdated systems that I just mentioned that you have to force fit your systems into that system, you're just not going to be able to compete in today's environment. So to help you be able to achieve that digital transformation that you aspire to have, and develop that competitive edge so that you are catering to your customers and agents' needs, DocuSign has built what we call the DocuSign Agreement Cloud. And basically, it's just our set of solutions that help you to prepare, sign, act on, and manage all of your agreements digitally, and also ensuring that they are compliant. So through each step of a system of agreement, where you're able to capture data accurately, you're able to automate workflows and approvals, and also maintain that digital audit trail, which is very, very important in real estate. Obviously, in case you get audited, you want to make sure that you are being compliant and really keeping track of everything and every single movement. So in order to conduct business at the speed that your clients expect and gain a competitive edge, DocuSign Agreement Cloud is very important for you. So now, as you can see here, we have the DocuSign Agreement Cloud solution. And so basically, the DocuSign Agreement Cloud for real estate is just a comprehensive set of solutions that are built to help you modernize your business processes. Now, depending on your specific needs, most likely you will only need a subset of these solutions that we have here for you to help modernize that system of agreement. So for residential real estate, really what you're needing is, obviously e-signature. You want to start with that. That's very important, and that's huge because you want to be able to deliver the best client experience possible. And really nowadays, e-signature seems to be the standard. Another huge tool that will be helpful for you guys is payments, our DocuSign payments solution, where you're able to collect any types of fees from agents. So if you want to bill them for certain technology fees, you can automatically do that with our payments solution. And then lastly, what we are going to really focus on today is our Rooms for Real Estate product for all your transaction management needs to help you, build custom tasks, design agent workflows, and just really manage the entire transaction. So with that, we'll get a little bit more into the Rooms for Real Estate product itself. So as I mentioned, it's our digital transaction management solution just to help brokers and agents really streamline that transaction process. And with that, it's going to help you not only accelerate deals and improve agent and customer experience, but it's also going to make compliance a lot easier for you guys as well by automating and connecting every single step of the transaction. So, excuse me, instead of downloading forms and printing, scanning, emailing, chasing agents down, excuse me, I don't know what happened there. But instead of, having to run all of these different types of manual processes, Rooms helps you to manage your entire transaction digitally, and overall just improving the buying and selling experience for everyone in your office and everyone that's involved in the transaction, which is really going to help you differentiate your brokerage. So, with this application, you can easily guide agents through every step that's necessary to close a transaction, and you can fit those steps and create, every single step of the way that's compliant with your brokerage and what your processes are, and then you can duplicate them on there, right? And in addition to that, not only do they have, our transaction management system, but they also have our top-rated e-signature solution that's deeply integrated within our product, so that it's all within one single app, and it's all flowing very smoothly. In addition to that, brokers are able to customize the solution to match, your unique workflows, permissions, hierarchy of the office, and all while maintaining, visibility and control over what's going on in your brokerage, which is very important. As I mentioned earlier, a lot of these other systems are forcing you to retrofit your processes to work within their system. But as you'll see soon in the demo, Rooms for Real Estate really allows you to customize it and just match your processes that you have in real life here digitally. And then lastly, with our very much robust and open API, along with many pre-built connectors to commonly used real estate solutions such as CRM or accounting softwares, Rooms really helps you to create that connected platform that saves you time, helps reduce errors, and also just overall creates that modern experience that agents and clients expect. Excuse me, I am on the tail end of a little cold. So an example of one really large franchise that is utilizing Rooms for Real Estate to truly transform and modernize their transaction is Keller Williams. So DocuSign is helping them to transform from just a real estate franchise to now a real estate technology company, which is pretty amazing. Basically, they are building an end-to-end platform with the help of our DocuSign Rooms for Real Estate APIs that will completely modernize their transaction experience. And by doing this, they're able to provide their agents with all the necessary tools that they need to have that competitive advantage in today's real estate industry. All right, so now that you guys have learned a little bit about our Rooms for Real Estate product and all the benefits and also the competitive advantage that you can have by using this product, my colleague Kelly is now going to take things from here and show you a demo so you can see what it really looks like inside.
Thanks, Adriana. Hi, everybody. My name is Kelly Lewis, and I'm a solution engineer here at DocuSign. Give me just a moment while I share my screen. All right, and Adriana, can you just confirm you can see that okay? Is it coming in clear?
Yep, I see your screen.
Okay, perfect. So really my day-to-day, my job here at DocuSign as a solution engineer is I partner with our account executive team and really am kind of like their technical resource, if you will. And prior to this, I was actually a part of our onboarding team here at DocuSign, where I specifically helped to train and help all of our brokerages get launched and adopted on the Rooms platform. So I've been doing this for quite some time now. I can really go down a rabbit hole and deep dive into the product, but for today, what we want to really highlight is some of the key updates that have been recently made within the platform. And what's really awesome to see over the years that I've been working in it is the fact that this platform has evolved and really helped to grow with the needs of our industry within the residential real estate space, where now we're even expanding out to mortgage and financial services. So it's really great to be able to be a part of, you know, this evolving platform that we have for the transaction management side. So before I dive into an actual workflow of the room and what that all looks like from an agent perspective and a broker's perspective, what I wanted to actually highlight was some of the recent updates that we made. And it's more on the back end side. So you won't necessarily see it, or an agent won't necessarily see it on their day-to-day, you know, flow of when they're creating a room. But what's going to allow the brokerages the ability to do is one big thing that we got here is what we call our role and permissions. Back before this was created within the Rooms platform, it was really two different types of users, where they were either a manager user or an agent user. An agent user would typically just be creating these digital rooms where, you know, they're getting a transaction or a listing, they're putting documents in the room, sending it out for signature and having it reviewed by their office. And as a manager user, they would be able to have the functionality that all their agents have, but in addition to that, be able to review all those documents. And there were really only two main types of users that would typically work together within a room. Well, with these new roles and permissions, what I really like and what I've heard from brokerages over the years is the fact that they needed a little bit more flexibility to be able to create different sorts of permissions for different roles within a company. You know, sometimes you might have an office manager that will be able to or need to have special privileges and special permissions that might require, you know, deleting of documents or deleting of files. And maybe you only want to reserve that for somebody within the office that should, and only that person can have those rights to do that. Versus maybe like a transaction coordinator or a team assistant, where they do need to still help to manage those files, but you may not want to give them the full gambit of all the permissions as it was before, where it was really, you know, if you're a manager, you get full rights and privileges. So with this new roles and permissions here, you can kind of see I've got a couple different options that we created here in my demo account. An agent would be able to, if I kind of go in and open it up really quickly, this is what it would look like if I'm creating a role for an agent. I can decide as a broker, you know, is this agent able to be visible in rooms? Are they able to add users to the rooms? What kind of visibility do they get to certain documents? You know, maybe as a broker, I don't want my agents to be able to delete documents. And so this really gives me a great way to give these different roles and permissions to all the different types of users that could potentially be coming into the room. And with a room, really think of it as a workspace where I want to collaborate with multiple different parties. So as a listing agent, I want my TC to be in the room. I want my client to be in the room. I want my broker to be in the room, but I don't necessarily want everybody to be able to see things or do certain things. So this is really a great new feature that I'm really excited for. And as brokerages, this will give you a lot more flexibility into some of the customizations that you can make within the platform. So for here, I'll just go ahead and cancel out of this screen. And I'll hop into my members tab here in the top left corner. This part here is a nice way to see once I've set up all of my roles and permissions, and let's say I want to go and I want to add a new agent to my office. It's very easy for me to select the Add Member button in the top right corner, and then I can go ahead and enter in their information, and you'll be able to see here how I can give them I can select the role that they have, that I have created for them on the back end, as well as see their types of different access levels and permissions that I'm giving them. So a really awesome feature, again, in regards to kind of the back end part of our Rooms for Real Estate platform. So from here, let me go ahead and I want to dive right into the actual workflow of what it looks like to create a room. So by definition, think of this as your digital file, right, or your manila folder that you used to store in the filing cabinet in the back of the office. And now what we've allowed you to be able to do is put everything in a cloud so that any agent or any broker from any location can upload a file and then gain visibility to your office managers, your TCs, admins, anybody back in the office. So I'm going to go ahead and kind of role play today. I'll pretend that I am a listing agent and I got a brand new listing, and now I want to go ahead and create a room. And so this would be my workflow. As I would come in, I will go ahead and click this Rooms tab here in the top center of my screen, and this is where I'm going to spend a majority of my time. And when I want to create a new room, all I need to do is click this blue New button here in the top right corner. It makes it very easy for me to create a room. This little pop-up window comes up and I can enter in the name of the room. So if it's for a new listing, most likely I'll enter in the property address. But maybe if I'm working with buyers, a good example might be to have it as Bob and Brenda Buyer. But really you can name it what you'd like. And then I can enter in just some basic information as well about the property. The neat thing about this, or just to call out, is that for brokerages, as a broker, you can customize this pop-up window and decide what kind of data or information you would like to collect during this creation phase. Sometimes you do want to include a zip code here, and you might want to add a field for a zip code, and you can make those customizations, which is great. When you get this platform, it's really like a blank canvas, and it's up to you to go in and work with our onboarding team to build it out and customize it to what works best with your flow in your office. The other topic or highlight that I like to point out here in just this initial phase is the idea of what we call a room template. So as a listing agent, I do know that I have this brand new listing. What I can do is I can select that I want to have this as a new residential listing type of room, and it'll automatically include a checklist that my brokerage has made for me in the room, and I'll show you what that looks like in just a little bit. But the great thing is that it eliminates the amount of time or thought that I need to put in as to, you know, what documents are required, what do I need to turn into my office. This really creates that automated workflow so that it makes it very easy and it keeps me compliant with the things that my office is needing. All right, so I'll go ahead and hop out of this screen. I've actually already created a room for us to play around with here today. So this is my tile here that I can click into for 123 Main Street. Now, the first screen that it'll bring us to is what we call our Details tab. And think of this as really like my digital cover sheet, right? So As an agent, I can come in, I can select this edit button, and then you'll notice that all of the fields will become fillable. This allows me to enter in as much information or as little information as I want. A majority of these fields are going to be optional, so it's not anything that my brokerage is requiring me to enter in. But, you know, as a brokerage, maybe there are pieces of information you'd like to require, and that's up to you to decide, you know, what do you want to require that your agents fill in? Are there fields that you want to edit or get rid of or maybe rename? All of those customizations can be done so that it creates a really nice experience for your agents when they're coming in and they're filling in this information about their transaction that they're working on. So I've just entered in some basic information here. Once I'm done entering it in, I can go ahead and click the Save button. It just locks in that information, and then I can edit this as needed whenever I need to. So what's also nice is that, you know, again, to kind of think about visibility within an office. I'm, as a listing agent, I'm not the only person that can see this information. I want to hop over to our People tab here, kind of in the center of my tab, at the top left of my screen. And I'm going to click on that. And really, I just want to talk to this. There's not a lot of action that I need to make here, but I just want to call out that this is a way for you to see who has visibility into my room, who can see the details that I'm entering in, who can see the cover sheet, right? And really, all of these tiles or these people are all a part of my office. So whether it's my TC, my broker, my admins, any of these people are usually automatically added to my room. It's great because they can help to identify, you know, do I have all the information that's needed in the details? Do I have all the right documents that's needed for this transaction? And they can help me along the way so that, you know, things don't get pushed to the last minute and I'm running behind on specific due dates, right? So this is just a really nice area for you to come in and see who's visible in the room. Now, what I can also do is if I ever wanted to invite somebody into this room, like my client or my seller or maybe another agent from another company, I'm also able to invite additional people into this room by using this blue invite button in the top right corner. If I click on that, it's just going to ask me to enter in that person's email, their name, and then pick their role. So I might have had, you know, a specific role and permission set up for those, maybe my sellers that's coming into the room, and they can only see the documents that I say that they can see. So it's a great way to add additional people and get that collaboration within the room. All right, so from there, I'm going to go ahead and let's talk about our task tab. So our task tab, and you'll notice that there's already these tiles that's located in the room. So this correlates to that room template feature that I would have selected when I was creating a room, right? So when I created it, I said, yes, I'd like to make this a new residential listing room template or room type. And this is the task list or the checklist, if you will, that automatically gets applied to the room. So as an agent, what's great is that when I look at this, I can easily see I need to turn in a listing agreement as well as a lead-based paint disclosure. Those are two documents that my office is going to require that I submit. Obviously, I know that it takes a lot more than just two documents to list a home and sell a home, probably anywhere in the United States. But you can really get creative as far as, you know, what kind of tasks that you'd like to include in this area. I just have this example as, you know, just my base initial new residential listing checklist, but you might have an offer checklist and a closing checklist that also goes in it. So it keeps the workflow of every single agent within your office consistent, and it creates a nice standard that, hey, this is what's going to be needed every single time. A lot of times I definitely hear, you know, our admins absolutely love this feature because they're no longer having to chase their agents down, looking for specific documents that's due by a specific time. Really everything can be managed here within this task section. Another thing to kind of just call out is you'll notice that these are document related tasks, right? But you can also include things like physical action items, right? So for those new agents that are coming on board, you know, did you take pictures of the property? Did you put up a sign? Did you put up a lockbox? So lots of ways for you to create a nice, helpful way to make sure all your agents are doing what they're supposed to be doing by the right time. Last thing I want to kind of point out here in this task section, you know, as admins, maybe if you're managing this file with your agents and maybe you notice, hey, there needs to be this extra disclosure that needs to be added for this particular transaction, I can always come in and add any additional tasks to this list if needed, or whatever requirements that's needed. The task list that's already here is a good foundation, but again, you know, if there's ever one-off task that needs to be added, you can definitely just add that right into the room in this location here with this button. All right, so we'll go ahead and now we'll hop into our document section, and really this is going to be where you're going to be spending a ton of time, you know, bringing in documents and looking at, you know, how to upload and turn in documents to the office. First thing I want to go ahead and call out is the fact that there are these red, what we call these placeholders, if you will, these red rectangles. And think of this as my parking spot, where when I get that signed and fully executed document, I can go ahead and turn that in to these placeholders, and then that's going to notify my office that I've turned in the signed and fully executed document. So that's kind of the first thing to call out. It'll mirror, you know, the tasks that we just went over. But what I really want to kind of talk about and dive deeper into is how to bring a document into the room. You'll notice there's this blue add button here again in the top right corner. And when I select that option, it's going to give me a drop down of a bunch of different locations for where I can bring in documents. First one is going to be my computer. So if I happen to save a document somewhere, or maybe somebody emails me a document, I can easily access any of my computer files directly from here and just bring them into the room. I'll come back to our DocuSign forms and our zip form integration in just a second. But we also integrate with Box, Dropbox, and Google Drive. So, you know, if you happen to store documents in any of these online storages, you're able to access and log into your account and grab those documents and drag them right into the room. So let's talk about our DocuSign forms and our zip form integration here. So I'll start with our zip form integration. It's a fantastic integration that I absolutely love. And what this allows you to do, especially if you are in a state that provides zip form and your brokerage or agents currently use it, it makes it very easy for you to link your account, access those documents directly from within a room, so you're not having to toggle back and forth between different systems, fill out the document, and send them out for signature directly from here. I've already brought in a zip form document here, so if I were to click on this lead-based paint disclosure here, it'll expand, and what's nice is this is zip form. So for those agents that are not too, you know, keen on change or want to see something that's a familiar face, this is going to be very familiar for them, where they can come in, bring in whatever zip form document they need, start to fill in this information as needed before they go in and they send it out for signature to their client. And so this is what the zip form documents would look like. Once they're done filling it out, they can go ahead and just select save. And if they need to, they can DocuSign it right from this screen here. And I'll get into actually signing a document in just a little bit. So then we also have what we call our DocuSign forms. And this is to help with those brokerages that are in states that maybe don't have the zip form integration available. And so we have an actual specialist and a special tagging team here at DocuSign where we're going out and licensing the forms directly from your state and local associations, and they're allowing us to publish their forms and have it be fillable. So it really helps to add that benefit for those agents that want a one-stop shop and want to be able to access their forms. So with the DocuSign forms, if I go ahead and select that option, it'll have a little pop-up window here that it's just going to ask me for my NERDS credentials. I'll just need to do a one-time validation, and then it'll allow me to access any library that I have a license for. It'll look something like this. So let's say that I wanted to access my Chicago Forms library. I can go ahead and select that option. It's going to give me a list of every single document that CAR has sent over to DocuSign, and I can pick and choose which documents I'd like to bring into the room. To take it a step further, if you are using forms, there is also the concept of a form group. So maybe instead of you having to spend the time looking for the right document, your brokerage can actually set up something like a listing packet, right? So they might only include specific documents that just pertain to this listing, and it just makes it easy for me as an agent to say, yep, I'd like to bring every single document directly into the room, and that's what I need for every single listing that I get. So again, that's just really helpful and helps me to save time and not have to accidentally pick the wrong document and start working on the wrong thing and waste more time there. The DocuSign form looks very similar to the zip form integration, where if I click on that tile and the document pops up, you'll notice that I can also fill in this information here. So you'll notice that it's already kind of pre-filled the information for Stan and Sarah Seller. I've entered in that information into the details section of this room. So very similar, but again, it's really to help provide ease for my agents to be able to get those documents, fill them out directly from here, and send them out for signature. All right, so now that we've gone in and we've talked about adding these documents to a room, what we can do is I want to go ahead and show the DocuSign e-signature component, because this allows you to directly send documents right from here. I'm not having to toggle to my DocuSign account. So for today's example, I'll just go ahead and let's say I use my lead-based paint disclosure as the document I'd like to send to Stan Seller. And I can right-click it. It's going to give me a whole bunch of options here of what I can do, and you'll notice that there's an option to DocuSign It. So for those of you that have used DocuSign already for our e-signature piece, this will look very familiar. It'll automatically add my document to an envelope. I'm also able to still add additional documents to the envelope as needed. And from there, once those documents have been selected, I can then move on to deciding who needs to sign the documents. One thing that I really appreciate and like about our zip form documents as well as our DocuSign documents is that everything comes as what we call pre-tagged, meaning all of the signatures, initials, text boxes, everything is already on the document for where seller 1 needs to sign, where seller 2 needs to sign, where a listing agent would need to sign. So really all I'm doing here is I'm just going to identify who is seller 1 and seller 2. This is zip form saying, hey, on this document, all these potential people could sign this document, but you just have to identify if that person exists. So if I do know that, yes, I do have Stan Seller here, I can go ahead and select his name and email from this dropdown. The reason why it's appearing for me automatically is because that information was entered into the room. So it's great. I don't have to re-key in any sort of email. I don't have to accidentally type in the email and miss a letter or miss a number. So I can just pick Stan Seller as seller 1. And then same thing for as many other additional people that need to sign this document, I can include them in the workflow. I'll keep it simple for today just so that we have one signer. So I'll add Stan to the workflow. I'll select the next button in the top right corner. It's going to then bring me into the DocuSign tagging screen where you'll be able to take a look, just review the document, and then you're also going to be able to see that that signature tag is already located on the document for me. I'm not having to manually drag and drop any sort of tags. It's going to be front and center. And, you know, if I wanted to add an extra initial tag, great. I can still make those edits. I can still drag and drop those tags if needed. And from there, once I deem that that looks good, I can go ahead and send that out for signature. One thing that I also really like about sending documents out for signature from within a room is that all the signed copies of those documents will come and live back in my Documents tab here, which is great because then I don't have to worry about organizing those signed documents, Typically, when you're using DocuSign e-signature, it comes back, it's in one general inbox, and then you have to figure out where does it need to go. I have to maybe email that to my office admin so that they can figure out where the files go, right? So this really creates a great safe bubble for where whenever I send out those documents for 123 Main Street, it's going to come back into my document section here. So give me just a moment. Let me go ahead and I'm going to sign the document really quickly so that we have a signed copy of the document in our room. So give me one moment while I'm signing it here on my other screen. All right. And so while that loads back for us, back into the room, there's a couple of other tabs here that I want to call out. So the first one is going to be our history tab. This is something that's been a part of the Rooms platform for quite some time. So this is really just a nice snapshot of everything that's ever happened in the room, any sort of approvals or declines in the room of any kind of documents that my admins are reviewing. So again, just a nice way for me to kind of recap what's happened in the room if it's been a while since I've visited this transaction. But the new feature here is what we have with a topic that's called messages. So in our older versions, we had a little, what we called a comment box where you can comment and, direct messages to certain people. But this is really a nice upgrade, I would say, as far as a feature goes in regards to messages. Because what I'm able to do is I can actually create different topics. So maybe different people in my office are wanting to ask different, questions about a specific topic, like, hey, did this deposit of the earnest money check come in? I've already created a thread that maybe I'm sending over to my admin, and they're going to respond in this chat thread here for me so that I know, okay, yes, it has been submitted, or no, maybe we're still waiting on it. And then maybe there might be other topics like, were there the photos taken of this property, and I can go ahead and create a new topic and send that out to maybe my assistant, and they can go ahead and manage that. So this message feature, I think, is a really nice way to communicate and show a nice trail of all the communication that's happened within the room, since there's so many moving parts with so many different people. Okay, so I'm pretty sure our documents have come back signed. If I click on my envelopes tab here, this will show me that the document I sent out has been completed. It'll also show those documents here on my documents tab. If I scroll down towards the bottom, I'm going to have my original documents, which are always going to stay in the room with me. But I also now have these two additional documents that's been added. This is my copy of my signed lead-based paint disclosure here, where it's got that nice bright green icon that says signed. If I click on it, this is what I might be reviewing, and I can see, great, okay, Stan Seller went ahead and signed the document there. And from there, this is most likely the document I'll be turning into my office or my broker so that they can go in and review the document. This extra document here, just to kind of highlight what this is. So anytime you send a document out for signature through DocuSign, you get what we call a certificate of completion, or it's like your receipt of all of the events that have occurred through the electronic signature process. So I'm able to see, where Stan signed, the IP address, the date, the time. This is all of the legal metadata behind electronic signature, and this is what stands up in court. So this is really just something, an additional document that gets placed in the room. It's up to you if you'd like to keep it in here or maybe create a separate folder that's like a miscellaneous documents folder where you just host everything within the room. Coming back to myself as a listing agent, so now I'm going to want to turn in these documents to my office so that they can go ahead and start reviewing it to make sure that it hits the mark for all of the compliance pieces, right? So in order for me to turn it in, it's super easy. All I do is I click the signed document, I match it with the placeholder, and I just drag it and drop it directly onto the placeholder there. Because this was a required task for me to turn in, you'll notice that the banner is blue now, and it has a needs review sign on it. And so that is an indicator that as an agent, my job is done. I've turned in that particular document, and it's now in the role of my managers for them to go in and start reviewing the document. I'll go ahead and just turn in this document here and pretend that this is a listing agreement. So it looks like I've turned in both documents. I can visually see that all documents have been turned in. And now for me, maybe my next step is to start working on different offers that come in or any other documents that maybe need to come in for this transaction. My job as a listing agent for right now at this very moment is on pause, and I'm going to have my managers now coming in to review these documents. So I'm going to switch roles here for a little bit, and I'm just going to switch hats, and let's pretend that now I am a manager of my office and I receive a notification. So typically when an agent turns in a document, they receive a notification that says, hey, you know, they turned in these documents, it's time for you to review it. I can click into my room and I can start reviewing these documents. Another place that I want to kind of highlight for those managers or brokers is the dashboard tab here. The dashboard tab, and then you'll click on the task tab. This is really helpful and important to know that this is here, because as an office, you know, you're not just managing probably one agent with just one set of forms. You're most likely managing a lot of different agents and a lot of different forms coming in at any time of the day, right? So by using this dashboard and the task tab here, this allows you to get a nice general overview of what needs to be reviewed, when they've been turned in, maybe when things are tasks are maybe past due and you do need to send out a reminder to your agent to turn it in. So I would say this is really a great working dashboard that you're going to want to consistently use and check in day to day, just like how you would with your emails when you first get into the office or wake up in the morning, as I do. That's usually the first thing that I'll check to see what's on my to-do list. So from here, I can easily click back into the room there for 123 Main Street. And now I'd like to start reviewing these documents here. I'll select the little radio button in the top left corner of the tile, and it gives me a little, there's this little icon here with a magnifying glass in the top center of my screen that says review. And when I go ahead and select that option, it's going to make me click on each document to open it up and view it to make sure that, yes, this does have all the right signatures and everything looks good. And that way my agents know I am looking at the document, right? They want to make sure that I am doing my due diligence, and if I am going to approve it, I did actually open it and see it. So if everything looks great and dandy, perfect, I can go ahead and I can select this approve button. But for whatever reason, let's say that I did notice that there were incorrect documents that were turned in. I do have this option to click on the correction required button. I would need to write a comment to my agent, so it would look something like this. So let's do this. Let's approve. I'm going to approve my lead base because I know that that one's good. But let's say that this one is incorrect here and I do want to decline it. I will actually have to write a comment to my agent. So maybe something like wrong document, please submit again. I can save it. And now once I've added a comment, I can then select the correction required banner. It kicks it back to my agent so that they know that they need to go into the room and make sure that they are uploading and turning in the correct document. If they were to come into the history tab, they can easily see that my lead base was approved, great, by my manager, but for whatever reason, my listing agreement was declined. And they'll have a comment box here where they can click on it and take a look and see what the feedback was from their managers to go in and correct the document. So from there, again, it's kind of like a rinse, wash, repeat. As I switch roles back into an agent now, I would come in here. I know that this is the incorrect document. Maybe this is the correct one. All I'm doing is clicking, dragging and dropping it, and then it's going to automatically swap it out there. So that's me kind of returning it back into my office so that they can go in and review it. And they would do the same thing where they'd come in, do one more review, make sure it looks good and that it is and can be approved, and my managers will go in and approve it. So visually, it's really nice and bright, very easy for me to see. Everything's been approved. Now I can really focus on, the next steps or the next phase of this transaction. So with that, this is really, the most, I'd say the most common workflow of the room. Really things can be changed around, but I did want to kind of leave some time towards the end of this webinar here to go over some of the questions that have come in. So I want to give us at least 10 minutes towards the ending here to answer those, or as many as we can. And if we can't get to your questions here based on the webinar, I'm happy to, we can field these after as well and connect with you directly so that we can get the questions answered. So with that, see, Adriana, are you taking back over on the screen?
Yes, I am. 1 second. All right. So thank you so much, Kelly. That was awesome. I hope you guys thought that was helpful as well. And again, I want to thank you guys so much for your time today. Appreciate you being here. And we will now open it up to any questions that you have. So let's see. So feel free to write them in the question box here. Let's see. So the first question, is this a newly redesigned UI? So actually just earlier this month, we released a new version of the Rooms real estate product. So it might look a little bit different for you. Nothing major has changed with the UI. We've really just kind of modernized it and updated it to visually look better and just to be a little bit more user friendly. All right, we have another question. This platform seems quite similar to DotLoop. Do you know the main differences? Is it available to agents without going through the broker? So to answer your first question about the main differences, the biggest differentiator with DocuSign Rooms for real estate up against any other transaction management solution out there is really just the ability to customize the solution to be able to match, your unique workflows and your permissions and the hierarchy of your office. As Kelly was showing earlier, you can really, really customize all the different types of roles for both internal as well as external roles. And you can distinguish every single little different permission. And because it's broken out so nicely, that really can trickle down and affect and positively affect your workflow so that you can really match your system within here digitally. And that's unique to DocuSign. And then to answer your other question about availability to just agents, we do not allow agents only to purchase DocuSign Rooms for real estate. A broker has to purchase it as part of a commercial package for the brokerage. And why we do that is because it was really built in order to help give visibility to brokers and make sure that they're the ones who are actually controlling the transaction and guiding their agents through the transaction. We didn't really make it so that, it's just for agents kind of doing one-offs. However, we do have the option for individual agents to purchase a e-signature for real estate plan. So that's what they can do on their own. All right, let's see. We have another question here. I see, for how long can I keep the rooms? Also for me, my clients, how long can, for them, can I have the access to the room? Kelly, do you maybe want to take that question?
Yeah, so typically with rooms, really as long as you're a DocuSign customer, this is going to be, your filing cabinet for you. We don't ever go in and delete anything. This is your documents, these are your files. If for whatever reason, you decided I want to store a backup somewhere outside of DocuSign, we definitely do have brokerages that like to do that as a secondary backup. You're able to download all of the documents into one file, and then you can download it to your computer and then store it, if you have like a SharePoint or Dropbox somewhere or an internal system that you would like to use, you can definitely store that secondary copy there. And it's really just more like the documents, because that's typically what you would get audited for, and that's what you want to make sure that you have as part of the file. And then you can also export the details section of the room. So if you wanted to download it as a CSV file and store that information or that data somewhere, external outside of DocuSign, you can. Same thing with the history tab. So if you ever wanted to save and export that history log, then you can definitely do that as well. And so, yeah, I hope, I think, let me see if there was a second part to that question. And then, so the second part of that question, for you and your clients, how long can you have them be in the room or have access to the room? So when you invite somebody into the room, you are the room owner, which means that you have the ability to say what kind of access they have and when you want to take that access away. So whenever I'm adding somebody into the room, and I say, okay, great, Stan Seller, I'm going to invite you to the room. Those tiles that you have for the people that's in that section, if you ever want to remove him, you just click on their tile and it'll give you the option to remove from room. So you can do that at any time.
Awesome. Okay, thanks, Kelly. We have another question here. If a corporation or LLC is purchasing a residential property, will the company name populate the documents even though the signature will be a person? Do you want to take that one as well, Kelly?
Sure. Let me just reread that question here. Purchasing a residential property, company name. Okay, so I think if you are sending out, essentially what you could do is if you wanted to create a user type underneath the room's umbrella, you could create a user type that would be like a company profile. And that way, any documents that are sent out by that particular user account would get, labeled as LLC is sending this out to that particular property. I think that's kind of the direction of where that question was going. But ultimately, it can be done. It's just a matter of setup and configuration on your account.
Okay, awesome. Thank you. All right, let's see. We have another question here. Do room members need to log into DocuSign in order to receive messages, or is there a way to sync with email, text, etc.? So with our messages feature, you're able to get notifications that will go directly to your email whenever there is a message sent within the room, so that you know that a message has been sent. And similarly, you can also set many other different types of notifications for you, so that if anything happens or changes within your room, that you will receive an email notification for that. Let's see, we have another question here. Where are the DocuSign forms available? Which states? So there are quite a few states that we have, and honestly, the list keeps changing every day because we've been so successful with continuing to add new state and local association forms. So honestly, the best way to find out if the ones that you are specifically looking for are what we have at this moment. The best thing for you to do is call up our sales team, and they will help look into that for you and get access and figure out exactly what we have. But we are really, really increasing coverage throughout the entire United States. I will definitely say that. Okay, let's see. All right, we have a question here. Can you use the Connect feature in Zip Forms, which pre-fills the form for you, then transfer to Rooms in DocuSign? Kelly, do you want to take that one? I think actually it looks like we're almost up on time, so that'll be our last one.
Yes, okay, absolutely. And so the answer is yes. So if you have an agent or somebody that wants to start in Zip Form, that's absolutely okay. They'll fill out their information on the Zip Form side, use that Connect option to pre-fill the MLS data onto those forms. And then when they're ready to send it out for signature, they can go into the room And just as I went into documents to add a zip form document, it'll say, hey, have you already worked on this document for this transaction? Do you want to just pull it over, and you can just import it right in? It's super easy. A lot of our brokerages do that for those agents that prefer to just start in zip form and work there and then bring it into DocuSign. There's no wrong way to do it, but it can definitely be done.
Awesome. Okay, and it looks like we are just about up on time. So I just want to remind you guys, I'm sure you can see my screen here. If you want to learn more or if you have any questions, feel free to reach out to sales@DocuSign.com, or you can also directly contact our real estate sales team at the number given there. And also don't forget to check our website out to learn a little bit more about our solutions for real estate. So with that, again, I want to thank you so much. And Suzanne, I just want to clarify, I know there were a lot of questions that we weren't able to get answered. Is there anything that we can do to try to reach out to some of these customers so that we can get their questions answered?
Yes, Adriana, we can follow up with the last couple of questions here after the call.
Okay, awesome. Sounds good. Well, thank you guys again so much. And yeah, feel free to reach out to our sales team if you are interested in learning more.